make sure it's accessible and it's structured so that it's formatted in a way that AI models and other computers, or I should say, the non-human audience, that it's formatted for the non-human audience in a way that it understands.
I'm Reed Wyckoff, co-founder and CEO at Digible, and today I have Yuri on from Jonah, a very well-known and well-respected CEO here in the industry, and now a great partner of Digible's. We are not going to start there, though. I was just talking to Yuri about this. I would love to hear more about the Jonah data layer, and I want to dive in. So tell me how it came about, what has you most excited about it?
Yeah, our industry is really interesting in that we're always slightly behind, it seems like, from every other industry out there. So how the data layer came about is our clients and agencies we work with, like Digible, started asking us, how do we measure the success on a Jonah website? And as you know, with what you do at Digible, it's so much work to go through on a custom website and figure out how to measure all the events and interactions and workflow and user journey. You could spend all your time doing that and get just the most basic reports back. So we started hearing our clients say, we need more from the Jonah website, and from the agencies, from Digible coming to us and saying, you guys are changing IDs and class names and items on the website. It makes it difficult for us to be able to report on the success of the Jonah website. So that caused us to go back and to woodshed and really take some time and develop a standardized and normalized platform for reporting events on a Jonah website. And we involved clients we've worked with alongside agencies like Digible to really streamline it and make it work so that you know exactly from the entry point of a prospect on a Jonah website to the exit point, everything in between, what a user is doing, the value of that user, the data, the metadata behind those interactions, and so much more. It's been such a great journey. And our clients are telling us it's been a game changer for them. For the first time ever on a Jonah website, they're able to see exactly the intent of what a user's doing. And what's important for us on that is we know we've future-proofed the website for our clients, that they're able to make decisions now on marketing and remarketing that they've never been able to do. So that is what keeps us up at night and keeps us driven. And we're very, very excited with not only where it's going, but with what the results we've already seen.
Yeah, well, it's awesome. Can't wait to unpack that, dig into it with you. I'm going to start almost with if you were to say this was the roadmap for GDL or JDL, sorry, Jonah Data Layer. How far along are you? Because I imagine you're not done as far as what you think you can achieve or accomplish. So this question is really just about maturity of JDL.
Yeah, we feel like version 1. So we're currently in the first full release. It's really solid and fully production ready. So we're happy with the results. But like anything, it's improving all the time. So we spend a lot of time in documentation and backwards compatibility. So as things are improving, we don't break anything going forward. It's always going to work with what's implemented today. But like you mentioned, there's so many additional opportunities to improve and report on. So we're kind of in the next phase of it where we feel attribution is the next real hot topic, and not single source attribution like what we're used to today, but multi-touch attribution, which is so neglected in the apartment real estate industry. So we're really hitting that hard right now for the next version of the Jonah data layer.
Yeah, well, not a small thing to tackle. I've had plenty of podcasts about multi-touch attribution, kind of the Rubik's Cube, you could say, in our industry. So yes. How is it then, and not to jump ahead, but since you brought it up, and I asked, the integrations. So all the different technology, the point solutions that are connecting, tagging to websites. How have you guys gone about that? I don't know a better way of putting it. Hot mess. We know how important it is, but it's like it seems so intimidating, frankly. And I love that you guys obviously have tried and already taken a huge step forward in helping solve that. But yeah, just want to tee you up on integrations, how you guys are thinking about that.
Yeah, great question. And hot mess is probably the best way to say it. We come, and when I say we, me and a group of our core developers, we come from outside the industry. We've been hard at it since January 1st, 2017. That's the official launch date of Jonah. But we come from a much larger organization, the telecom, where a group of us work for AT&T, writing large scale software. So we came in with this understanding that whatever we do in multifamily and the apartment real estate industry, it must scale. We've got to be able to handle the growth and the size of this industry because it is huge. This is a massive industry. As we started to unpack, we found that it's just layer upon layer, history of old systems upon old systems, duct taped together.
100%.
So what that's caused us to do is to take a proper middleware approach, where what we think of ourselves is, when it comes to integration, as a proper middleware provider. We normalize the hot mess coming into us. We bring it into our middleware, and our output is standardized, normalized, and easier to support. So the downside with that is the upfront cost is tremendous to go in and to figure out the best way to capture this data from so many different providers in so many different formats. I mean, the fact that we're still dealing with some of these old, web interfaces from a gazillion years ago, it's just cracking us up. Like, only a few providers are truly modernized. So we have to, as a middleware provider, think we're going to take all the legacy data coming in, normalize it, and make it available in a way that partners like Digible can properly consume it. It's a lot of brain power, and I have just the best developers on staff that understand this large-scale software development. That's how we approach it. Now, in a practical sense, what that means is the consumers don't realize it. So when you see an event come in, like I'll take a real simple one. Let's say it's an interaction with a floor plan. Prospect clicks on a floor plan, opens up a modal, and the data represented as part of that interaction. That might be coming from 4 or 5 different integrations, whether it be a property management software, whether it be an integrated virtual tour provider, or a dozen other potential providers. What we do is we normalize that. So in that single click, you get a payload. They opened this floor plan with this floor plan ID, with this name of the floor plan, that's for the end user, and this name that's coming from the provider with the underlying metadata, the square footage, the number of floor plans, the number of bathrooms, the rent min, the rent max, the rent base min, the rent. I could keep on going, but all of that is normalized. So you, the end user, you just see the same set of data every time, but my sources are coming from all over the place. I'm merging it, normalizing it, and standardizing it so you don't have to worry about the hot mess that we're dealing with when it comes in.
Yeah, no doubt. Amazing. So what signals are you encouraging then your clients to be paying attention to as they, I don't know if onboard, I should have maybe even backed up and asked you that. Is this something that is just now native within, or should be an expectation of all Jonah clients, or is it something that they is more of a premium subscription or that they buy into? And in either case, I'm curious, what signals you say this is what you should be paying attention to over the next 3 to 6 months. That's how you'll know the true value of what JDL brings to the table.
That's such a good question, because I think it's one that's not asked often enough, is what is the bare minimum? Like, what should people expect? When we built out the Jonah data layer, we decided that it was a bare minimum offering. Everyone should have it. Like it shouldn't be a premium service. We should move on from this concept that unless you pay to play, you're not going to have the bare necessities of what you need. So we rolled it out. We paid the dollars to build it properly, and we gave it away to all of our clients, no cost. Now, with that said, it really does require a good partner like a Digible to take full advantage of it. So I always tell my clients it's like drinking from a fire hydrant. It's just blasting. It's so much information that's available, and it's on by default on every Jonah website. But to be able to utilize it, it really does take some strategic interaction. It takes companies like Digible to come in and say, of these 1,000 events that are firing on any given day, these are the ones that are important for us to make these types of marketing decisions. So that's my long way of saying it's available on every single Jonah product at no cost, but there is the complexity with it that I highly recommend working with an expert like Digible to weed through what's important, because just because you have all of it doesn't mean you are ready to use all of it.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, appreciate a couple plugs there. Hopefully we can meet your expectations and our shared clients. It almost sounds like a different version of, what we often talk about or deal with, which is, hey, our job is to bring you good qualified leads, and then operations, it's their job to close, right? Like the on-site teams make sure that once we hand off those quality leads that you guys capitalize. This is a different version of that in a way where it's like now from a website provider, instead of, I'll say, kind of some messy or Swiss cheese type data, as I often refer to it, they're giving us pristine data. They're giving us insights of, information, intelligence that we never had before. And it's our job, similar to operations or on site, to capitalize. So is that fair? Like, I don't know if that lands for you, but as far as like the relationship between a Jonah and a Digible is like, it's no longer like, I don't know how else to put it, just okay data. It's like now we've served this up on a silver platter in a credible way so that a company like an agency like Digible can fully capitalize.
No, I think you nailed it. And the reality is this data has always been there, but in order to harvest it, it took so many man hours. So what would happen instead is we would find companies like Digible would say, well, we're going to give you 5 major measurements, right? It's going to be a interaction with a floor plan. It's going to be a schedule a tour. It's going to be a contact form. It's going to be a click on a lease now button. Like these are going to be the measurements that we do, because for us to capture the rest of it, you're not going to be able to afford it. It's going to take too much time. Right. And because every web platform is different and we have to redevelop this every time, the costs are astronomical. Mm-hmm. So now that you have all of this, you're able to step back and say, well, what could we do if we had this information? Like, I'll give you a small one, not to get too far off your question, and I'll circle back, but I've always been amazed that remarketing in the apartment industry has always been to the property. Mm-hmm. Yet in every other vertical market, like if I go out and let's say I'm looking at a new pair of shoes, pull up my favorite pair of black Van shoes. I look at it and I decide not to purchase. What do I see on the next 10 websites I go to? I see those black Vans tennis shoes, the same ones that I interacted with. And if I click on that ad, it takes me back to a squeeze page of just those shoes with the clothes. What do we do in multifamily? We see the user is interested in a 2-bedroom apartment, but we remarket the property to them. Mm-hmm. So what do you see on the next 10 websites? You see the property. They click through. They've got to go through the shopping experience. And it's because you've never had the data. We weren't giving you the data that says, here's not only the products that they're interested in, here's the price ranges, here's the lease terms, here's the filters. We're giving you all this data that you can now take and remarket the actual product that they're looking at. And we're giving you the ability with squeeze pages to do the same thing you would in my aforementioned example of shoes. You could drive that traffic right back to a page that just shows 2-bedroom floor plans, pre-filtered and ready to close the deal. So the data is there. How you use it, how the Digibles of the world use it, it opens up a whole new world for you. What we love from our end is we've always stayed in our lane. We're not an SEO, SEM company. We never have been. We never want to be. It's not our forte. We think you guys and what you do, it's brilliant. We like to stay out of that. But we're so grateful for the traffic you drive to the website. And we do feel it's our responsibility that once you send us this prospect, that we do a good job with giving you back their interactions. And then again, we're not owned or are we a property management software company? So when we hand off to the lead capture system, we feel like it's our duty to hand forward as much data as we can. And so we stay in our lane, keep sending traffic. We're going to do our best to give you all the interactions. We're going to hand it back to you, and we're going to hand it to the next player in the funnel. And so I hope that answers your question in a long way, but we love the fact that we're a better partner and we're giving you more valid data.
Yeah, absolutely. And believe me, we appreciate it too. We both win in this. All three of us, meaning shared clients, Jonah and Digible. When you mentioned squeeze page, I just didn't want to breeze by that. Most of our listeners, I think, are pretty familiar with the marketing lexicon here, but I think they might, and I'm not saying, I just don't know if there's worth distinguishing between what many might describe or think landing page versus a squeeze page. Your example was pinpoint, though. I mean, it was very easy to follow, but any, I guess, footnote in the term squeeze page versus what many marketers might be thinking, is it interchangeable with landing page?
Yeah, good question. So, and that is a point of confusion because, we both came from the world where a squeeze page was a single page website with a specific offer, and it literally would ask you every scroll, every few inches, you would have a call to action. I'm talking the term we use is a campaign page. And what it is, it's a page dedicated to a product type or product types. So let me unpack that for a bit. So in our world, a campaign page could be a page dedicated to penthouse products, where it's a page that shows photography, amenities, maybe some content dedicated to that product type, penthouses in this case. But most importantly, integrated floor plans with pricing availability that are pre-filtered. And this is real important, especially if you're using a product like Ingrain Sitemap, because you're going to come to this page and it will be pre-filtered to available units based off of the product type. So all of the content, all of the stats and analytics and events and everything is based around that product type. And you can specify any set of filters you want on a Jonah website when it comes to a campaign page. So you could have them dedicated for 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, or you could group them. Maybe you're running a special or you're trying to push 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom products. Create a campaign page that pre-filters those two product types. Or you could get very specific. I want to pre-filter this corner of the building because it's not moving. Like these pages are very flexible. So that's what we call interchangeably with a squeeze page, a campaign page, which is a page dedicated to a single effort.
Yeah, awesome distinction. Thank you. So coming back a little bit to integrations, and I'm just going to be specific here, and Elise.ai or Elise AI. If one of your clients is running with Elise, what does or doesn't come from, I guess, those transcripts or that integration when it comes to JDL? So how much of it is covering third party like integrations on a website versus JDL is only, and I'm not saying it is, it's just teeing you up, surfacing insights and data intelligence from the native website?
Such a good question. So I love partners like Elise AI. They're so creative over there. They're so pushing the edge, of technology and pushing us forward. I'll use some examples, not just specific to them, but for all providers. And that is, the goal is always to make the website feel as native as possible, whether that's with a widget, whether it's with an embed or whatever it is. We want it to feel native and app-like. So what we try to do with companies like Elise AI, like with Ingrain, like with many other providers, Tour24, et cetera, is what we try to provide is a native filling integration so that the user doesn't realize where the Jonah website begins and ends, and the widget begins and ends. Probably the best example of this right now is our integration with Ingrain. So Ingrain is probably the premier, not probably, they're definitely the premier interactive sitemap in our vertical market. It runs as an iframe embed, which means, as you know from what you do, that those events aren't available by default to your analytics.
Exactly. Yep.
Now, they're really great. They have an unbelievable API, so you can expose all those events, but it takes a little bit of work. You've got to go through and write some JavaScript and expose those events and then push them to your GA4, to your tag manager, et cetera. So it takes a little bit of work. So what we do as an integrator for Ingrain and the likes of others as well is we'll take that and create the middleware so that our clients don't even think about it. So this will blow you away, what I'm about to tell you. And I'll use the example of Ingrain. So websites that are not running an integrated shopping solution like Jonah's, and even Jonah up to about 18 months ago, no events from an interaction with an Ingrain sitemap ever ended up in your Google Analytics. Not a single click or interaction, no filter, unless you utilize their API and programmed it, which was maybe 2% of our user base. So by creating the middleware and exposing the events and normalizing them and pushing them into the JDL, you don't realize that we've doubled the number of interactions, because on a Jonah website, it's usually around 50% of the time they're shopping by availability, 50% of the time they're shopping by floor plan and interacting with the two. So what that means is our clients with the JDL enabled are getting double the number of events because we're giving you all of the Ingrain events that other website providers who haven't done that aren't giving you. And so that's my long way to say that's our goal with all providers. Elise, Tour24, Highly, I could keep on going. All of these great vendors, that what we want to do is take the strength of their platform, take their events, normalize them, and give them back in a single way so that, and this is the most important, if I'm interacting with a call to action, let's say like a lease now on a unit, you shouldn't have to worry as a reporter, Digible shouldn't have to worry, did that come from the Elise AI widget or the knock widget, or did it come from Ingrain, or did it come from, you shouldn't worry. You should be able to say, we normalized this event that is a type of unit click of a lease now, or apply now, and we can count that regardless of the source. Now, what we will do, because we're good partners, I will still give the credit to Ingrain or to Elise or to Tour. I'll still add to the metadata that it was from their source, but you won't have to gather that from multiple places. You'll still see a single event click with metadata that gives the due back to who it is due. And so we're really good players when it comes to that. But you shouldn't have to worry about the 15 widgets running on the website. You should only care about, we care that there's an apply now click, and I don't care which widget did it. We want to count that as a proper handoff to leasing an apartment.
Yeah, amazing. Literally, I mean, you beat me to it in a good way. That was my next question is, are you able to, get down to the source with all these different widgets, which obviously you just said you could, but not disrupt the data collection or the consumer, the person that's actually on the website. Keep it as native as possible. As you're saying all this, I'm assuming that the things, and I don't know that we're there yet. Look forward to the case study that we can both celebrate 6 months from now. But is that folks should see more traffic and better traffic as a result of JDL? Because it would just seem to me that you're already making sure that you're removing the blind spot or blind spots, plural, that have been there prior to 18 months, as you're saying, or you were just using that as a timestamp at 18 months ago. But because now we're so much more equipped to understand the interactions and events that are happening on a website, we should be that much better at driving more of those and to the right people. So back to the question I posed to you, what signals should you be looking for as to whether JDL is really giving you the advantage? And I would say, more traffic, probably more in I would think a lot of referral. So not necessarily the paid traffic, because that, I'm going to save myself and you from a rant on paid versus organic traffic, but then also conversion rate, which is so important, and so I'm going to, unless there's more you wanted to, I wanted to pivot or come back to, you mentioned future-proofing, AI kind of future-proofing websites. So
before we go, let me mention one thing on what you just said.
Sure.
On a Jonah website, as part of that measurement, there is something a little unique with this. And this is a term I use internally. Maybe someone else has coined it somewhere else, but we're a success measurement company. And this is really important for people to think about when it comes to what questions should be asking. So let me give you an example. Let me take an interaction with one of the aforementioned widgets. So I'll use one of the tour schedulers. It's any of them. It's all the same. So
yeah, there's a few.
For most people, what happens when you're recording a successful tour schedule, it's usually on the click, right? So you click the button, schedule a tour, and we've incremented, we've had another tour schedule. I don't believe that's the proper measurement. I believe the proper measurement is the partner that we're integrated with. Like I'll take a Yuri tour schedule, for example. I won't fire the success event to the Jonah data layer until Yuri has told me we've received your tour request, the slot was available, and it has been scheduled. So their API lets me know that has occurred. So what happens on a Jonah website is the number of leads and tour schedules are actually lower than most websites, but the number of actual conversions, leases, and leads are higher.
Yeah, I follow.
They're more qualified. So that's a real important distinction as you start looking at those data. Maybe you think differently about it than we did in the past, where it's like we don't actually know. They clicked on it. We measured a click. I don't know why. I gave you 500 of them last month, but only 24 actually came through. So you're going to find that on a Jonah website. It's a lower number because I won't give you a measurement until I've been told it's been received. And we do that across every interaction. So success-based measurement.
Awesome. That's going to take a little bit of, I'll say, change management or reconditioning of like how a lot of, at least I would think, our clients are used to thinking about it or seeing it, but in a good way. But it's like, it's going to be a lower number, but it's going to be much higher fidelity, much more reliable, and ultimately, we're talking about conversions here, which is most important. So there's going to be some mental models that might need to shift a bit as you get further into it. Actually, you know what? There's one other question, and I think this is the right place to ask it. That's almost plagued me, I feel like, for the last couple of years. I brought it up with a few clients for sure, is how are you making use of your chat data? And, a lot of people kind of look at me puzzled when I asked that. And then, what exactly do you mean? And I'm like, well, one of the more valuable data points, I guess you could say, or resources we have is our call analytics. And we have the transcripts of those calls. And we use technology to take those transcripts and optimize directly back into your Google campaigns based on which keywords are converting at the highest clip, right? I have not seen that or heard just that simple use case with chat transcripts. And it's something that I've been wanting Digible to be able to have the opportunity to do, partnering with an Elise, but it's like, give us the data just the way that JDL is giving us incredible data, so that we can really capitalize on your chat transcripts the way that we do on call transcripts. So I'm curious, again, as you were saying, we're kind of removing these blind spots and we're able to capture so much more data regardless of what widget is, how the data is presenting itself. We are doing that hard work as the midware. What is your response or reaction to that when you think about the chat data? Do you feel like that is being capitalized on currently, and what role could JDL or Jonah play in helping advance that forward?
It's interesting that you ask it that way. Now, we don't have access to any of the chat data ourselves, so we don't see it. But I definitely think from your standpoint, especially with the call data that you have and the fact that you have access to all that, it sure would be interesting for you to have that to help shape maybe the types of things you're displaying, on a Jonah website. And this might be good for the listeners to understand. At Jonah, we're kind of a weird agency in that we do one thing and that's it. I build an amazing web platform with a middleware software to integrate so you don't have to deal with the complexity, but we don't generate any content. So we rely on partners like Digible to do things like writing blog content. I don't generate content.
Yeah.
We work with design agencies to generate, imagery. We work with photographers to provide photography, et cetera. Like, we do no content at all. And we don't even outsource it, or we're not a middleman. So when a client says, for example, oh, we love this video that is playing on one of your websites, all we do is we say, well, we think this is the agency that did it. Here's their information. We don't take anything from it. And we have no affiliation. And we do that with Digible as well. We just literally send your information to our clients when they say, who do you recommend for the services? And we just hand it off. So we're a little weird in that I'm real narrow focused. We're truly a software as a service company. We just provide the software that drives all this. So I wouldn't normally have access to content like chat. So even our events, it's important to hear, it's got no PII, no personally identifiable information in it. The closest we come to is we can provide with a client, like I do this with a handful of clients, where they run a script on their side and they track cross-domain users with a session ID, so they can track a user from one location to the next, and they store the PII and allow a user to opt out. That keeps me out of all the issues with CCPA, CPRA, GDPR. I could keep going on all the acronyms, but it keeps us out of that. And I'm truly a software as a service provider.
Yeah, well, smart on so many levels. I have to ask if you've ever been tempted. As you said, we are software as a service. We are a web platform. We don't do SEO. We're not doing the creative. There's plenty of things that we don't engage or involve ourselves with. Have you ever been tempted? Because I have heard plenty of people, and I don't think it's grumbling. It's more like, man, it'd be so great if Jonah would just add SEO services, or if they'd, I don't know. But so therefore, have you felt pressure over the years and ever been tempted, or has it been just like we've never even considered it? Like we've not felt that gravity or that pull, and our business model has been, just super crisp and clean from day one.
We get asked all the time, not just SEO, but here's the thing. I've never wavered once, never, not even a little feeling, like not even a consideration. And it really comes down to one thing, and it's integrity. So I just believe that if we were reporting on ourselves on how well our websites are doing,
Mhm.
it's like being a restaurant and hiring your own food critic. I much rather have Digible provide a report to our clients, independent audits. I'm not paying you. You're not paying us.
Yeah.
You're able to stay honest and integrous with how well we're doing. And what that allows me to do, because we're not perfect, you guys provide things all the time like, hey, you guys should consider doing this. And because there's not a financial relationship there, I can take that information, I can fix it for our shared client, and I improve our products. So every client gets the benefit of your audit that you're providing. And then I'm not giving them, any BS on how well I say my website's doing. They get to hear it from someone else, and we stay integrous on the whole transaction. So not only have I never felt it, the plan is we'll never ever do it. So knock
Love
on
it, man.
wood, we will not do it.
Yeah, I totally respect that. Prompts Jim Collins for me. Just the hedgehog, if you know the analogy,
Yes,
but do
do.
the one
Love that.
thing and do it better than anybody else.